Crown Prince Vex Terran swept through his flagship corridor, bored with everything he owned.
A human janitor? On his knees scrubbing. How perfectly pathetic.
Robert Marrowfield paused his scrubbing, a gray, ununiformed old man whose hands had known far more than mop handles.
You are a stain on this ship. Earth should have sent a better servant. Or can your species not afford one?
Your Highness, allow me to record this. The court will enjoy seeing the Terran specimens humbled.
The prince backhanded Robert across the face. A sharp crack and a thin red line opened on the old man's cheek. Robert's head turned with the blow, but no sound escaped him. He looked back, eyes steady and terribly calm. He stayed on the deck, a drop of blood tracing his jaw, his gaze holding the prince's with a weight that silenced the corridor.
Perfect! Forward that to the fleet, label it the human stain. Let the Empire laugh.
The slap became imperial humor. Racing through Hillith networks, a broken Earth specimen who never once cried out. He went back to his mop. The prince was gone. The sting remained.
Enjoy your scrubbing, human. It's the only mark you'll leave.
The clip jumped from screen to screen. A gray old man, a royal slap, and utter silence. He worked his shift. 6 hours. The blood dried on his cheek, and he never once raised a hand to touch it. At shift's end, he logged out at the terminal. His movements were slow, deliberate. He walked to his quarters through the service corridors, unnoticed and unmissed. His cabin was a metal box. He shut the door and stood still in the quiet. Then he washed the blood from his face. Water swirled pink down the drain. He sat on the edge of his cot, hands resting on his knees. The cut had stopped bleeding. He stared at the wall. No rage, no tears, only the patience that had silenced a corridor. The clip ended. Ambassador Cortez sat frozen, the screen still glowing with the image of a bloodied old man.
That face. Robert Marrowfield. Oh gods. No. Why now? Why him?
Within the hour, Earth Council convened an emergency session. Cortez projected the footage.
That isn't just any janitor. That is Robert Marrowfield, the abdicated 11th sovereign of the Marrowfield dynasty.
The room went cold. Every person at that table knew the name Marrowfield meant a fleet that could end empires.
His family still commands the Marrowfield Reserve. If he decides to answer this insult, we face an interstellar crisis. We must plead with him for restraint before he does something none of us can undo.
The vote was unanimous. Cortez drafted the message herself, her fingers trembling over the keyboard. Her words were careful, but the desperation was plain. Robert, please, for the sake of all Earth, do not act. The transmission left Earth immediately, racing across light years toward a tiny cabin aboard a Hillith flagship. A soft chime broke the silence of the cabin. The Earth Council transmission had arrived. He read Cortez's words, a plea to do nothing, to let the insult pass. He looked away from the screen, toward a small framed photograph on his shelf. He opened a storage locker and retrieved an old military comm unit, untouched for over a decade. His calloused fingers moved across the keys, typing a sequence no outsider could decipher. He pressed send. The message vanished, swallowed by the network. Across the darkness, a dormant relay station received the signal. It pulsed once, then went still. Robert powered down the terminal and closed the locker. His face showed nothing. He glanced once more at the photograph. His wife's smile, unchanged by time. Then he sat back down on the edge of his cot and waited with the patience that had silenced a corridor. The signal traveled through dark space, bouncing from one hidden relay to the next. In a forgotten system, light years from any inhabited world, a dormant black and gold ship began to stir. A single dreadnought, then another. Cyan running lights flickered along their hulls. Across the fleet, stored for generations, reactor cores ignited. A low hum filled the vacuum. The Marrowfield Reserve, 800 dreadnoughts, awoke as one. No alarms sounded anywhere else. Emergency protocols activated. Weapon systems ran silent diagnostics, and orange ports cracked open. In the darkness, they formed up, a line of ancient fury stretching across the void. The lead ship transmitted a single acknowledgement. Orders received. ETA, 18 days. The lead vessel's navigation computer plotted a jump point, untouched since the last war. The fleet began to move. Engines igniting cyan, carving a silent path through the stars. In Helith space, Crown Prince Vex Terran lounged on his throne, replaying the slap footage for a crowd of sycophants.
Watch this again. The broken Earth thing just stares. No fight, no words. Humans are born to scrub. My father should see this. Perhaps then, he'd understand why I find court so tedious.
Light years away, Earth Council monitors flagged the Marrowfield fleet's engine ignitions. Cortez went pale.
He didn't listen. He's activated the reserve. We have to stop this before it reaches Helith space.
Her second message was shorter. Robert, we beg you. Stand down. There is still time to prevent catastrophe. The transmission reached his cabin. Robert read the plea, then switched off the terminal. No reply came. Cortez stared at the silent screen, the weight of an empire's fate pressing in. On Helith, the prince drank and laughed, utterly unaware that a storm was racing across the void. Earth Council held their breath, waiting for a response that never came, while the Marrowfield fleet advanced. In a Helith monitoring station, a junior officer noticed the fleet on a deep space scan, then shrugged. A superior glanced over. Private Terran legacy drill. Mark it as a non-threat and log it. The report never rose above the intelligence floor. The Emperor was not informed. Prince Vex Terran laughed in a pulsing nightclub, the slap still looping on his personal screen.
We have to warn Helith. If that fleet arrives unchallenged, it could be a slaughter.
Her colleague objected, but Cortez silenced him. She would send the message herself. She typed a covert warning to Emperor Helith. Your Highness, the Marrowfield Reserve has been activated and is moving toward your space. Her finger hovered over the send key for only a moment. Then she committed. The transmission slipped through diplomatic back channels, marked eyes only for the Helith throne. Cortez sat back, her heart pounding. She had broken protocol, but she hoped it would be enough. In the heart of the Helith Imperium, Emperor Helith read the covert transmission. His violet eyes turned cold.
The Marrowfield Reserve, moving. Who dared insult a Marrowfield? Summon intelligence now.
Within minutes, the intelligence chief played the slap footage and displayed a royal portrait. The janitor, Robert Marrowfield.
That is the 11th sovereign of the Marrowfield dynasty. My son struck the heir of an 800 dreadnought fleet. Bring me Vex Terran now.
Prince Vex Terran was dragged before the throne, still smelling of nightclub liquor, his arrogance intact.
Do you know what this is?
A janitor? I don't understand.
The Emperor's backhand sent his son sprawling. The sound echoed through the black marble hall.
That janitor commands a fleet that can annihilate us. You have doomed this empire with your stupidity.
The Emperor's rage cooled into something worse. Cold, calculating fear. The tactical display showed the Marrowfield fleet's relentless advance.
2 weeks. We have 2 weeks before 800 dreadnoughts darken our skies.
His war council scrambled, but every simulation ended the same. Total annihilation. The Marrowfield Reserve was a force of nature. On Earth, Cortez received a terse communication from Robert Marrowfield's network. His only demand, a handwritten apology from Crown Prince Vex Terran. Nothing more, nothing less.
That's all? He could ask for the Empire itself. He wants a letter?
The Emperor stared at the relayed demand, his massive hands trembling. A written apology, the most humiliating peace term in Helith history.
He could ask for our territory, our fleets, our lives. And he asks for this.
He understood then. The old man did not want conquest. He wanted submission, a personal, permanent, public admission of shame.
If I refuse, my empire burns. If I comply, my son's dignity becomes a galactic joke. There is no victory here.
The Emperor turned to his guards. Arrest the Crown Prince. Take him to the lower cells. 2 guards hauled Vex Terran down to the detention level and threw him into a cold, bare cell. A table and a single sheet of paper were placed before him. The Emperor's voice came through the speaker. Write, or we all die. Vex Terran stared at the paper, his hands shaking. The arrogance had bled out of him completely. His hand closed around the pen. The first stroke tore the silence. Tears fell onto the ink, smudging the words. He wrote through them. A prince reduced to a schoolboy. He signed his name. The pen clattered to the floor. The letter was complete. The Emperor received the letter, sealed in an envelope bearing his personal crest. He summoned his fleet commander. Prepare my flagship. We leave for the rendezvous point immediately. Prince Vex Terran remained in his cell, weeping over the ruins of his dignity, waiting to be delivered. The Marrowfield Reserve emerged from jump at the Helith border. 800 dreadnoughts blotted out the stars. Alarms screamed across the capital planet. Citizens looked up to see the sky turning cyan with engine glow. In the palace, Emperor Helith watched the orbital feeds, his hands white-knuckled on the console.
It's time. Bring me my son, in chains.
Guards dragged Vex Terran from his cell, securing ornate cuffs around his wrists. He did not resist. The Emperor's flagship lifted from the capital. Engines blazing against the terrified sky. Aboard, the prince knelt in the audience chamber, his chains clinking with each tremor of the ship.
My empire's survival now rests on the mercy of an old man who mops floors.
The Helith escort fleet formed up, a handful of vessels against the horizon-spanning black and gold wall ahead. They set course for the neutral rendezvous point, 800 dreadnoughts waiting like patient executioners. The fleet's readiness signal appeared on his personal terminal. Robert read the coordinates, then deleted the message. From his locker, he took a civilian jacket, brown, simple, frayed at the cuffs from years of use. He pulled it on over the gray janitor's uniform. No insignia, no weapon, no comlink.
Not long now, Eleanor.
He touched the glass with 2 fingers, then turned away. He walked out of his cabin, leaving the overhead light on. The door hissed shut behind him. His footsteps echoed through the empty service corridors, a measured, patient rhythm, as if he had all the time in the world. The cavernous Helith docking bay was nearly empty. His battered Terran shuttle sat in the corner like a discarded toy. He climbed aboard, settled into the pilot's seat, and ran the startup sequence from memory. The shuttle detached with a soft clang, a tiny gray craft slipping from the gilded maw into the star-filled black. The Helith flagship materialized at the rendezvous point, barely a speck against the dreadnought's gunmetal flank. The Terran shuttle landed in the bay with a thud that seemed louder than it should. The hatch opened. He walked down the ramp alone, passing between rows of rigid Helith guards who dared not meet his eyes.
Leave us, all of you, out.
The guards filed out. Only the Emperor, the kneeling prince, and the quiet old man in a brown jacket remained. Vex Terran refused to look up. His chains clinked as he trembled, tears drying on his lavender skin.
Same corridor, same face, different price.
Lord Marrowfield, my son's apology, as you demanded.
He held out the sealed letter with a tremor that betrayed a lifetime of absolute rule, crumbling in one moment. Robert took the envelope. The room held its breath. He had not yet spoken a single word. Robert broke the seal with his thumb. The sound was small, precise, like a tree branch snapping in a frozen forest. He read the tear-stained Helith script, his expression unchanged. The weight of the room pressed down. The prince's handwriting trembled. The ink smeared where tears had fallen. The silence stretched like a wire.
I accept this apology.
The Emperor exhaled, a long, shuddering release. His shoulders sagged under the weight of a reprieve he had not expected to receive. Vex Terran's chains clinked as he sagged further, a raw sob escaping his throat. His father did not look at him. Robert folded the letter, put it inside his jacket, and turned toward the great golden doors.
Lord Marrowfield, my son, what of my son?
Robert paused at the threshold. He did not turn.
Keep him.
The golden doors swung shut behind Robert, sealing the silence. Emperor Helith stood motionless, staring at the empty threshold. Vex Taran sagged to the floor, a pile of chains and wet sobs, utterly forgotten by the old man who held his fate.
He didn't want him. He just walked away.
Outside, the Marrowfield Reserve began its slow pivot. 800 dreadnoughts, silent as ghosts, turned their bows toward the deep black. Sion engines flared, and the line of ancient fury dissolved into the void, leaving only empty space where annihilation had loomed. Robert walked back through the cavernous bay, past the rigid Helith guards who now stood like statues, eyes fixed forward. He did not look back at the golden ship that had witnessed his mercy. He simply climbed into his battered shuttle and sealed the hatch. The shuttle lifted with a soft hum, a tiny gray speck against the gilded monstrosity, and slipped into the starfield. Inside the cockpit, Robert's face was unreadable as always, but one hand rested on the jacket pocket where the letter lay. He set course back to the station, leaving behind an empire that had learned a very simple lesson in the space of a heartbeat. He returned to the station alone. In his cabin, he opened his locker for the last time. He folded the gray janitor's uniform and set it on the cot. It would stay there.
We're going home, Eleanor.
He placed the framed photograph inside the small duffel bag, next to the apology letter. The cabin door slid shut behind him as it always did, but this time the light was off. In the bustling station terminal, a gray-haired man in a brown jacket bought a one-way ticket to Earth. No one glanced twice. He was just another old traveler in a crowd of thousands. The civilian transport undocked with a gentle lurch, carrying its passengers toward the blue marble of home. Somewhere in the galaxy, news feeds began piecing together the story of the Helith prince and the janitor, but the old man in the window seat only watched the stars, his hand resting on the pocket where the letter lay. The last leg was a ground car through endless pine. Then the lake appeared, still as glass. A small wooden cabin sat on the shore, shutters closed, waiting exactly as he had left it. He unlocked the door. The smell of cedar and old memories greeted him. He walked inside, past dusty furniture, and stopped before a wall of photographs. He unzipped his duffel and placed the framed picture of Eleanor beside the others on the shelf.
There, home.
He stepped onto the porch. The lake stretched before him, dark water reflecting the first stars. He sat in an old wooden chair, the same one he had built with Eleanor 40 years before. A fishing rod leaned against the rail. He did not touch it tonight. He simply watched the light fade. The galaxy might search, but here he was just an old man who had kept a promise. The truth broke 2 days later. The slap footage recirculated with a new headline: Helith Crown Prince strikes hidden Earth War King. The galaxy watched the same clip they had laughed at weeks before. Now, with a chill of dread, Helith issued a formal statement. His Imperial Majesty expresses gratitude for the mercy of the Marrowfield Sovereign.
We are relieved no further action was necessary. The situation was resolved without violence.
But behind her diplomatic mask, Cortez knew how close they had come to catastrophe. The Marrowfield Reserve remained on standby, a silent reminder that the old man could be reached. Across the galaxy, planetary governors quietly removed Earth from their list of easy targets. The name Robert Marrowfield became a myth whispered in dockyards and throne rooms alike, and Prince Vex Terran vanished from the public eye, his title stripped, his name a curse. The empire that had laughed at a janitor now understood it had poked a sleeping war god. Years later, a young reporter hiked the dirt path to the cabin, a camera drone humming behind her. She knocked on the wooden door. Silence. Then it cracked open, revealing a weathered face.
I caught a fish this morning.
He closed the door. The reporter stared at the wood grain, her questions unanswered. The drone's light dimmed. The only story was a closed door and the distant lap of water inside. Robert placed the morning's catch in the cooler and sat back on the porch. He owed the galaxy nothing. Not an explanation, not his memories, not his silence. The reporter eventually stopped coming back. The world learned that legends don't grant interviews. He remained exactly where he wanted to be, beside the lake with the fish and the memory of Eleanor. The galaxy whispered, but the old man only listened to the loons. In a secure Earth intelligence office, Ambassador Cortez pulled up a monitoring file.
He's still at the cabin. Same routine. Good.
She closed the file, knowing they would never stop watching. He was too dangerous to ignore. Light years away, a hidden relay pinged the fleet. Engines cold, weapons dark. Status nominal. The console in the closet blinked a steady message. Awaiting authorization. Awaiting authorization. In boardrooms across the galaxy, strategists added a single line: "Do not provoke Marrowfield." No one knew if he was truly retired, or simply waiting for the next insult. The Marrowfield Reserve became a ghost fleet, a legend that deterred war without firing a shot. And in a fishing village in northern Canada, an old man mended his nets. Utterly content, the galaxy wondered. He didn't care. Night fell over the lake, and the cabin window glowed a soft blue. Inside, Robert sat before an old console hidden in the closet, its screen blinking a status update. The text read, "Marrowfield Reserve, standby mode, continuous monitoring active." A soft chime sounded. The fleet had completed a scheduled sensor sweep, a ghost's breath across the void. Robert watched the data stream for a moment. No threats, no incursions.
Good.
He closed the console. The cabin returned to darkness, save for the embers in the fireplace. Far away, the fleet resumed its silent watch. The dreadnoughts drifting in the cold. The galaxy would never know how close it came to fire. But the old man knew. He always knew. And as long as he drew breath, the Marrowfield fleet would be there, waiting. From the porch, the stars were a blanket of silent fire. The old man took one last look at the lake. Then he turned, closed the door, and the blue light in the window flickered off. The camera pulled away, rising past the pines, up through the atmosphere. Earth became a blue marble, then a point of light in the vast dark, and there, scattered across the void, a hidden constellation, 800 dreadnoughts, sleeping, unseen by the galaxy. A single dreadnought turned, its cyan engines flickering once, in a cabin closet. A console continued its patient message. Standby. The galaxy turned. Empires rose and fell, but the old man kept fishing. Because some warriors don't need to fight. They just need to be known. The galaxy remembers. Robert Marrowfield waits.